Harry here with Coach Luke. Overall thoughts?
You know, I thought that Wayne State came in and executed a pretty good game plan. Coach Greer does an excellent job with those guys, and we knew they weren't going to go away. In fact, they outscored us in the second half. But I was really pleased with how we finished, both offensively and defensively. I thought our kids did a nice job today, executing our defense and our offense, especially in the crunch time. They'd get it to 6 or 7, and then we'd get it back to 10 or 11 through both defending and executing our offense. And I got to give Wayne State credit because they play hard. They're going to play as hard as anybody in the league.
In what ways do you feel like you guys were better than Wayne today? I mean, you touched on a couple of the finishing, but I mean, what were some of the places where you felt like you guys were able to carve out kind of an edge?
Well, I think that if we were better at anything, and I don't know based upon the stats, I feel like Stelzer, when Stelzer has 5 threes at half,
yeah,
I feel like that we're in a groove, because that means we're executing our offense. So, and one thing that I was really pleased with was the inside play of Kyle. Mm-hmm. Kyle scored some baskets today. We actually were working to get him down low and running some plays for him.
With both of those guys, first Stelzer and then Stankowski, what were the ways you were kind of able to attack their defense to get them good looks?
Well, we got some early entries that we try to get for Kyle, mm-hmm. and then with a second option of Benny, coming off if Kyle doesn't have any, or Luke Heller, mm-hmm. If they don't have anything initially on those entries. And I thought our recognition, by our bigs to hit our other bigs on some of those early entries was huge as far as how they were switching staggers.
Defensively, as the guys have said, Wayne's always going to bring good athletes. How are you guys able to take that away and get stops and handle them defensively?
Well, I think in today's case, we just wanted them to try to continue to guard us, and credit went to them because they did continue to guard us. But I like the way we executed and swung it from side to side, and then we were either able to get a solid look, or we were able to get it inside. And again, I feel fortunate that we stuck with our guns and stayed with it, because they weren't going to go away.
On the other end of the floor, Wayne's been struggling to score a basketball for the early part of the season. How were you guys able to take away some of their threats? How were you able to defend them?
Well, it's interesting because the credit needs to go to their point guard, number 4, because he ends up with 20, and I don't think he's averaged that much. I don't think he shot that much, and that was one of the things that we wanted him to do, was become a scorer. So maybe our game plan was a little bit on tack. We wanted to make him a scorer. We wanted to try to shut down 3 and 30, and then of course not give up too many baskets, because we know that they can score inside too. So I guess our defensive game plan was on task, but yet I got to give credit to their point guard, because he played a good game.
I know you guys had a handful of turnovers in the early going. How'd you guys get things cleaned up? You end up with 17 assists against 12 turnovers.
You know what? The turnover portion was disappointing. I think if we go back and look at that, we'll see that we got a little bit anxious, and when we do that, we're not real solid with what we're talking about as far as executing and finishing. And most of those turnovers, I think, if we go back and watch the tape, could be avoided.
This is it for GLIAC play now for 2014. With one more non-league game on the road coming up before Christmas. How do you feel or how do you feel about where you guys are at 4 games into the season?
You know what? You can't really. It's not really fair to make comparisons with teams, but we were in this position last year. With the exception of, we're identical record, with the exception of now we're going to Parkside. We had Parkside here last year, and it's not going to be an easy task. We understand that. We got exams this week. We got to get off to a good start with the exams on Monday. So we're going to cut back on practice, and we're going to try to get these guys through exams. And I have to feel comfortable, because when you start 0-2, you're just thankful that you are 2-2. Mm-hmm. After the fact. So we're exactly where we were last year, and we've got to build on that.
Thank you.